In the last previous episode, we met Robert, a man in his 70s who didn't realize he was quietly losing muscle. No pain, no dramatic fall, just small shifts, leaning a little more, hesitating on the stairs, pushing off the couch with both hands. Things that seemed normal. And maybe you heard his story and thought, that sounds a little like me. If so, I want you to pay close attention to this episode, because today we're diving into the 5 earliest signs that your legs may be getting weaker, even if you still walk every day. These signs are often overlooked, not because they're invisible, but because they happen so gradually, they become habits. And that's exactly what makes them dangerous. You don't feel them as weakness. You feel them as, I'm just being careful. But that carefulness, the extra railing, the subtle pause, the skipped walk, might be your body's first signal that your strength is fading. So in this episode, I'll walk you through 5 simple, specific signs to watch for in your own body or in someone you love. If you notice even one of these, it's not too late. It's the perfect time to act. Let's begin. Wall. Have you ever noticed yourself using your hands to push off the armrests when standing up from a chair? Or maybe you press your palms against your knees just to give yourself a little extra boost. It seems harmless. In fact, it feels smart, like your body is finding a cheat code. But here's the truth. When you need your arms to help your legs stand, it usually means one thing. Your leg muscles, especially in the quads and glutes, are losing strength. Think about it. When you were younger, you didn't think about standing. You just did it. But now, if rising from a low chair or soft couch feels harder than it used to, and you automatically reach for help, that's your body compensating. It's adapting, yes, but it's also warning you. Studies show that difficulty rising from a chair without using your hands is one of the earliest functional signs of sarcopenia, the age-related loss of muscle. And here's the important part. The longer you rely on your arms, the more your legs forget how to activate properly. So this simple habit can slowly become a trap. But the good news? This is one of the easiest signs to reverse, if you catch it early. Later in this series, we'll talk about one simple movement you can do daily to rebuild leg strength. But first, let's move on to sign number 2. I'll take the elevator this time. Let's find a ramp instead. I'll wait here, you go up. These are phrases many people over 60 say without a second thought. And sure, elevators and ramps are helpful. They're convenient. But when you start avoiding stairs completely, not because of pain, but because they just feel harder, that's a red flag. Going upstairs is one of the most demanding movements for your legs. It requires power from your quads, hamstrings, glutes, and calves, all working together to lift your body weight, step after step. So when you begin to feel out of breath sooner, when you grip the railing more tightly, or when you choose to wait instead of walking just one flight up, that's your body telling you something has changed. Research shows that reduced stair climbing ability is a strong early indicator of lower body muscle decline, even before it shows up in walking tests. And here's the sneaky part. The less you climb stairs, the faster your muscles lose the strength to do it. It's a classic use it or lose it trap. But like sign number 1, this one can also be reversed with slow, intentional movement. Even practicing stepping in place or doing one stair at a time can help retrain your legs. You don't need to run up flights. You just need to remind your legs, hey, we still do this. Let's move on to sign number 3. and it might be one you've definitely brushed off before. You're washing the dishes or waiting in line at the pharmacy, and suddenly your legs feel heavy. Your lower back starts to ache. You shift your weight from one side to the other, and before long, you're looking for a chair. I just don't like standing too long anymore, you tell yourself. But here's the thing. That discomfort you're feeling, the need to constantly adjust or sit down, could be a sign that your postural muscles are starting to weaken. These include your glutes, hamstrings, calves, and core, the muscles that keep you upright, stable, and strong. When those muscles begin to fade, standing still becomes a lot more tiring than it used to be. And what happens next? You start avoiding it. You sit while cooking. You lean while brushing your teeth. You skip the standing conversations at family events. Little by little, your tolerance drops. But you don't think of it as weakness. You think of it as getting older. The truth is, it doesn't have to be that way. Standing endurance is a skill, and like any skill, it can be trained. But the first step is recognizing that struggling to stand isn't just annoying. It's your body quietly asking for support. So the next time you shift your weight or reach for a seat, pause. Ask yourself, is this comfort or is this compensation? Let's move on to sign number 4, a more visual clue that most people completely ignore. One day, Robert stood in front of the mirror after his morning shower. He glanced down at his legs and paused. They looked different. Not injured, not swollen, just thinner, softer, weaker. And he wondered, have they always looked like this? Here's something most people don't realize. As we age, muscle mass naturally declines, especially in the legs. But because it happens slowly, we often don't see it until a noticeable amount is gone. What replaces that muscle? Usually fat or loose tissue. The shape of the legs becomes less defined. The muscles look flatter. The skin may sag slightly at the thigh or calf. And the scary part? Most people don't notice it until it affects how they move. But visual changes in leg size or firmness are a red flag, a signal that your body is no longer rebuilding muscle like it used to. And this change doesn't just affect appearance, it affects balance, it affects strength, it affects how confidently you move through the world. So if you've looked in the mirror recently and thought, my legs look smaller than I remember, you're not imagining it. And it's not just aging, it's a signal to move, a signal to nourish, a signal to act, before that loss becomes something harder to regain. Now let's move on to the final sign, and it's the one that often leads to real danger: falling. It starts with something simple. You trip on the edge of a rug. Your toe catches the step. You lose your balance for just a second, but you manage to grab the wall, just in time. You laugh it off. I'm fine, you say. But deep down, it shook you. Maybe it's the first time you've almost fallen, or maybe you already have. Here's the truth. A near fall is a warning. It means your body wasn't able to catch itself the way it used to. And the biggest reason for that? Muscle weakness, especially in the legs and core. Your quads, calves, and glutes are your stabilizers. When they weaken, your balance suffers. Your reaction time slows. You wobble more on uneven ground. And when you fall after 60, the consequences can be life-changing. A fractured hip, a hospital stay, a loss of independence. But here's what no one tells you. Falls almost never just happen. They're usually the final signal in a chain of quiet warnings your body gave you weeks, even months before. So if you've had a near fall recently, don't ignore it. Don't wait for another one to confirm what you already feel. It's not about fear, it's about action. Because even after a fall, you can rebuild the strength to move safely and confidently again. Let's take a breath and wrap up what we've learned today. Today we uncovered 5 early signs that your legs may be losing strength. Quietly, gradually, but with real impact. You push off chairs with your hands. You avoid stairs more than you used to. You struggle to stand for long periods. You've noticed your legs looking thinner, less defined. And maybe you've had a near fall, or almost did. On their own, these signs may seem small, but together, they tell a bigger story. A story of strength slowly fading, and a chance, right now, to catch it before it's gone. You're not weak. You're not too old. You're simply being called to notice. And once you notice, you can begin again. Muscle loss isn't a final sentence. It's a process. And just like it began quietly, it can be reversed, step by step. In the next episode, we'll shift from signs to solutions. I'll walk you through 3 small but powerful daily habits that help you protect and even rebuild your leg strength after 60. If this episode made you think of yourself or someone you love, please consider sharing it. And if you haven't already, hit follow or subscribe so you don't miss what's next. Because the journey to strength doesn't start in a gym. It starts right where you are, with awareness and a single step forward. I'll see you in the next one.